space is bigger than Belgium and Israel put together. Belgium total export last year, put with Israel, is over 300 billion. If Taraba does 1% of that, even if you come to Africa, Taraba, you can grow flour there because they have the Mambila Hills. You can grow tea, you can grow coffee. Kenya, our next door neighbor, did from flour last year about over $500 million. I went to the field, I saw young girls and boys picking flour. They are being paid $100. So the unemployment is below 10%. Ours is 35%. Because of states like Taraba. I went to Ethiopia. Total export of coffee from Ethiopia is $1.1 billion. Of course, tea in Sri Lanka. These are things you can grow there. So we need to deal with all those. When I talk about production, that is why other priority security. So you can put people back to farms and invest on the productive assets of the country. When we talk about our assets, it's not only NNPC and Ajoku, that land is the major asset and has to be invested on. And no land are we going to allow to just feel like that. We will turn into something and it will be productive. So these are the orders of priority. Deal with the issue of human capital, education. Our human capital is low. The more you invest in education, the better your economy. So we're going to invest in education. We're going to invest in health. We'll start pulling the small people and people out of poverty. These are orders of priority of what we are going to do. Let me tell you, I've said there's nothing wrong in borrowing. Every country of the world borrows money. I've not seen any country that is not owing. Especially countries we use, for example. Today, Nigerians who want to cite America, Britain, all those countries owe more than 80% of their GDP. America is the biggest country. With all the dollar and everything, American debt today is over 80% of our GDP. The second country is China. They are owing over 50% of their GDP. The third country is even more compounded, is Japan. They are owing 230% of their GDP. The difference, even Norway, with 1.4 trillion sovereign wealth fund, is owing. Singapore, that we like to cite in Kwainon, is owing over 130% of their GDP. So the difference is that if you borrow for consumption, you have a problem. If you borrow for investment, your economy will grow. The reason why things are not working here is that we borrowed for consumption. You threw away the money. So debt is a component of development. But debt must be used efficiently and effectively for a purpose that brings value. You don't just borrow money and throw it away and then come back. That is why you're even having a problem servicing the debt in the first place. Because the money you borrowed had been thrown away. If it was invested, the what you get from the investment is what you use to service the debt. And I've shown countries after countries, third world countries. I'm not comparing us with countries of this thing. I've always showed an example using Bangladesh, a very poor country. Sorry to use it. If they hear it today, they'll say, what is this man talking? But I can tell you, when I went to Bangladesh, you will run away. Because we are far ahead. Countries were better than South Korea today. In the 80s, there was people, Khan was the person who led World Bank turnaround of South Korea. So many other countries. I can show you countries that we have had. But in 2010, I went to Bangladesh as a governor because I wanted to go and study what they are doing with micro businesses. I went there. The first thing I saw is to look at what is their GDP. about $115 billion. Their debt was $45 billion. Their per capita was $747 in 2010. Go and check Nigeria in 2010. Our GDP was 375, our per capita was $225. Our debt then was about 10% of our GDP. You can go and check it. Today, our debt is now about 30% of our GDP, which means we have tripled it. And our per capita is 1,908. So we lost 11% of our per capita. The same Bangladesh today, their per capita is 2,050. In fact, it's 2,100 now. So they tripled their own. Our own went south. That because the money you borrowed, you threw it away. Their GDP has grown to 300 and something. Their debt have also increased by 3 times what it was then, but they have invested it. It is what you use the money to do that makes the difference. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. We will, first is that under my watch, we will borrow for investment. We are not going to borrow for consumption. And there are things you can do, which is what my sister is doing, cut the cost of governance, remove physical recklessness. And you don't need to borrow as much as you're borrowing today. You know, I said before that we'll deal with the issue of education differently. I won't say exactly how we are going to deal with it, but I remember I said it will go out from the list where it is to where it will be under state. We are going to do things differently, where we will ensure that what we are going through now, in terms of university timetable, does not occur. And I assure people we're going to deal with that. Because education is going to be priority in a government that I and my team will be involved. The vice presidential candidate of Labour Party owns 2 universities. There's nobody who has that qualification in all those who are contesting today that can bring it forward, because they have already experienced a domiciled experience within the team, and both of us are going to be one team. He knows. He comes from himself, well educated, a PhD holder, owns 2 universities, involved with education and investor. So be rest assured we're going to deal with all these issues and how to handle it better. On role of women, again I will refer people to go to my last involvement in governance in Anambra State. I was actually going to establish Ministry of Men Affairs because women were in charge. Go and check from my last chief of staff, last commissioner for finance, head of service, principal, permanent secretary in my office, accountant general, commissioner for finance, commissioner for education, commissioner for local government. I can go on and on. The women took over. And I can tell you, I said, I'm happy that somebody who went to the European Union with me there. Women are more productive than men. When they determine to do anything, they will do it. The men can be thinking, yeah, they will do it. And for me, the rest assured, they will be well involved. I said to my speech that all those unconsulted areas will. The women, the youth, the vulnerable will be involved. This is their government. I'm going to lead a government of the poor, a government of Nigerians. This government will be for Nigerians, by Nigerians. It's not going to be government of elite, organized elite conspiracy and criminality. No. That's why we're trying to destroy their structure. That structure that kept us where we are. So, that's the thing. There's one remaining.
The ports.
Let me tell you about the ports. I'm a trader. Don't go to that area. I know what to do with the ports. I'm a trader. I'm part of it. The president knows now. I'm a trader. I'll show you that I'll make sure that dealing with trade and importation and export will be seamless. Remember, I'm trying to drive exports. That's what we're doing. Mr. President, let me most sincerely thank you again and your team for inviting me. The reason why I said I want it to be interactive is that I want the people to listen to me and take notes. So they know that what I'm speaking is what I'll do, because I have it detailed, it's being taped, I'll tell it analyzed, and things I've talked over and over again. I've made comparison with Nigeria and over 30 countries. And I've come to conclusion that Nigeria's problem, though daunting and difficult, is solvable. All it requires is that we need to have a leadership that is committed.